The Great Hall on Zephyria Prime was bigger than most cities on Earth. Its walls were made of living crystal that sang soft music when the light touched them. Strange beings from across the galaxy sat in floating chairs that moved without sound. Some had too many arms. Others glowed like stars. A few looked like they were made of pure energy that shifted and danced in the air dot. This was the Galactic Council. Every 1,000 years, the smartest races in the galaxy came here to share what they had learned. Today was special. Today they would talk about dimensions. Ambassador Sarah Chon walked into the hall. Her simple white spacesuit looked very plain, next to all the amazing creatures around her. She was the only human there. Many of the aliens had never seen a human before. They stared at her with their many eyes. The Vorthic went first. They were tall and thin like walking sticks. Their leader had 4 arms and skin that looked like black metal. When he spoke, his voice made the air shake. "We have mastered the 4th dimension," he said with pride. "We can fold space like paper. We can be in 2 places at once. We can reach through walls as if they were not there." The other aliens made sounds of approval. Some clapped. Others flashed bright lights. The Vorthic had always been good with dimensions. Next came the Luminari. They looked like floating balls of light with no solid body. When they spoke, colors danced in the air to make words. "The 5th dimension is ours," the colors said. "We control pure energy. We can make suns burn brighter or make them go dark. We can turn matter into light and light into matter." More sounds of approval filled the hall. The Luminari were known for their power over energy. Then the architects stepped forward. They were the oldest race in the galaxy. No one knew what they really looked like because they were always covered in robes that seemed to be made of space itself. Stars twinkled in the dark fabric. "We have entered the 6th dimension." Their voice came from everywhere and nowhere. "We touch the realm of consciousness itself. We can read thoughts across the galaxy. We can plant ideas in minds. We can make dreams become real." The hall grew quiet with respect. The architects rarely spoke. When they did, everyone listened. Then it was Sarah's turn. She walked to the center of the hall. Her boots made small clicking sounds on the crystal floor. Every eye in the room was on her. She cleared her throat and spoke in a clear, strong voice. "Humanity wishes to announce our new project. We are going to break through into the 7th dimension." For a moment there was complete silence. Then someone made a sound like a cough. Another being made a chirping noise. Soon the whole hall was filled with strange sounds. They were laughing. The Vorthic leader's 4 arms shook as he laughed. "The 7th dimension? The humans think they can reach the 7th dimension?" The Luminari flashed colors that hurt to look at. Their laughter was like rainbow lightning. Humans can barely understand 3 dimensions. They still get lost in their own space stations. Even the quiet architects made a sound like wind through empty caves. For them, this was rolling on the floor laughing. A new voice spoke up. It came from the Nixari, a race that looked like giant spiders made of blue metal. "Humans have tried to break through dimensions before. They failed every time. Their ships blow up. Their crews go crazy. Sometimes they just disappear forever. Remember the Mars incident?" Called out a Zephyrian. "They looked like tall trees with faces in their bark. 50 human ships tried to enter the 4th dimension. None came back. We found the pieces floating in space weeks later." The laughter grew louder. Sarah's face turned red, but she stood straight and did not move. The Vorthic leader wiped tears from his black eyes. "My dear human, you do not understand. Each dimension is harder than the last. The 4th dimension nearly drove your people insane. The 5th dimension would burn your minds to ash. The 6th dimension would erase your souls. And the seventh dimension? The luminary's colors pulsed with amusement. The seventh dimension is pure causality. It is where cause and effect dance. Together, one wrong thought there could unmate your entire species. It could make it so humans never existed at all. An old being called a crystalline spoke up. They looked like walking diamonds with voices like breaking glass. The seventh dimension has been tried before. The Vorthik sent their best scientists. There 2 million years ago, they came back as empty shells. Their minds were gone. The luminary tried it too, added a stellar whale, a creature so big it lived in space itself. They sent a whole fleet of light ships into the seventh dimension. The ships came back, but they were full of darkness instead of light. We had to destroy them before they infected others. The architects spoke again, their voice heavy with age. Even we, the oldest of the old, have only touched the edge of the seventh dimension. It nearly destroyed us. We learned that some doors should never be opened. Sarah waited for the laughter to die down. When the hall was quiet again, she spoke. We know it is dangerous. We know others have failed. But humans are different. This made them laugh even harder. Different? The Vorthik leader could barely speak through his laughter. You have no special abilities. You cannot even live in space without machines. Your minds work in straight lines. You think in only 3 dimensions. You are children playing with. Fire, said the luminary. Sweet, stupid children who do not know how badly they will be burned. A new race spoke up. The voidlings were beings of pure darkness with eyes like white stars. Perhaps we should help them. Their voice was like whisper. In a tomb, we could teach them how to safely enter the 4th dimension. In only a few thousand years, they might be ready. More laughter filled the hall. Sarah raised her hand for quiet. We do not need your help. We will do this our own way. Your own way? The crystalline's voice rang like broken bells. There is only one way to enter dimensions. Through mathematics. Through careful study. Through millions of years of evolution. Humans have been trying for less than 1,000 years, said the stellar whale. We have been working on dimensions for millions of years. What could you possibly know that we do? Not? Sarah smiled for the first time. We know how to be unpredictable. The hall fell silent again. No one understood what she meant. The Vorthik leader shook his head. Unpredictable? Chaos is the enemy of dimensional travel. One small mistake and you die. Or worse, much worse. Agreed the architects. In the higher dimensions, your mistakes do not just kill you. They can kill everyone you have ever known. They can kill everyone you will ever know. Sarah bowed her head slightly. Thank you for your warnings. But humanity has made its choice. She turned to walk away, but the Vorthik leader called after her. Wait, we cannot let you do this. When you fail, and you will fail, it might damage the dimensional barriers. It might hurt other races. Sarah stopped and looked back. Are you trying to stop us? The being made of pure darkness spoke up. We could, but why should we? Let them try. Let them fail. It will be a good lesson for other young races who think they know better than their elders. Yes, said the luminary, their colors now calm and cold. Let them try. We will watch from a safe distance. When their ship explodes, we will study the pieces. Maybe we will learn something new about how not to enter the 7th dimension. The crystalline laughed like wind chimes in a storm. I will start a betting pool. Who wants to guess how long they will last? I say they will not even reach the dimensional barrier. I say they will reach it, but turn back in fear, said the stellar whale. I say they will try to break through, and their ship will turn inside out, said the Nexari. The architect spoke last. We say they will succeed in entering the 7th dimension, but they will come back changed, and not in a good way. This made everyone laugh the hardest of all. Sarah Chun walked out of the great hall. Behind her, the greatest minds in the galaxy were still laughing at humanity's impossible dream. They were so smart. They had been traveling between dimensions for millions of years, but they had never met humans before. They had no idea what was coming. 6 months after the meeting on Zephyr Prime, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez stood in the most secret place in human space. Luna Station looked like any other research facility from the outside, but deep underground, in chambers that did not appear on any map, humanity was building something impossible. Marcus was not like other scientists. His hair was always messy. His clothes never matched. He talked to himself and laughed at his own jokes. Other scientists called him crazy. But crazy was exactly what this project needed. The elevator went down for 3 minutes. When the doors opened, Marcus stepped into a chamber so big it made him feel like an ant. In the center, floating in a web of energy beams, was the strangest ship ever built. The ship did not look like it should exist. Its hull was made of metal that changed color when you looked at it. Sometimes it was silver, sometimes it was black. Sometimes it seemed to be made of light itself. The shape was wrong, too. It had curves that hurt your eyes to follow. Parts of it seemed to fold in on themselves in ways that should not be possible. "Beautiful, isn't she?" said a voice behind him. Marcus turned to see Captain Elena Vasquez walking. Up, she was tall and thin with short black hair and eyes that saw things others missed. She had been a fighter pilot in the war against the Centauri rebels. She was the best pilot humanity had ever produced. She was also completely insane. "Beautiful is not the word I would use," Marcus said, looking back at the ship. "Terrifying might be better." Elena laughed. "Same thing when you think about it." They walked around the ship together. Marcus pointed at different parts as they went. "The hull is made from matter that exists in 3 dimensions at once," he explained. "It should tear itself apart, but somehow it holds together. We think it's because the metal is actually happy." "Happy?" Elena raised an eyebrow. "We asked it nicely to stay in one piece. It said yes." Elena stared at him. "You talk to metal? Why not? Everything in the universe is connected. Even metal has feelings, if you know how to listen." This was the kind of thinking that got Marcus kicked out of normal science. It was also the kind of thinking that might just work. They walked past the engines next. They did not look like any engines ever built. Instead of burning fuel or using nuclear power, they used controlled black holes the size of marbles. The black holes spun in perfect circles, eating space itself and spitting out pure motion. "How do you control a black hole?" Helena asked. "Very carefully," Marcus grinned. "And we ask them nicely, too. Turns out black holes are quite polite when you treat them with respect." At the front of the ship was the bridge. It looked more like an art gallery than a command center. The walls were covered with paintings that moved and changed. Music played from speakers that were not there. The captain's chair was shaped like a flower that opened when Elena sat in it. "A navigation system is based on dreams," Marcus explained. "Instead of using math to plot courses, we use imagination. The ship's computer has dreams about where we want to go, and then it takes us there." Elena looked around the bridge. "This is the strangest ship I have ever seen." "Good. Strange is what we need. Every other race tries to enter dimensions using logic and science. They build ships that make sense. They fail. So we built a ship that makes no sense?" "Exactly. We built a ship that thinks with its heart instead of its head. A ship that makes friends with impossible things. A ship that can do what has never been done before." Marcus led her to the crew quarters. This was the strangest part of all. The rooms were all different sizes and shapes. Some had walls covered in musical notes. Others had floors made of clouds. One room was bigger on the inside than on the outside. Who are we taking with us? Elena asked. Marcus pulled out a list. 27 of the strangest people humanity has ever produced. He read from the list. Dr. Sarah Kim, a physicist who thinks math is a language for talking to the universe. She proved that 2 + 2 = fish, but only on Tuesdays. Elena blinked. Fish? Don't ask. It makes sense when she explains it. Marcus continued reading. Tommy Chun, a jazz musician, who can play songs that do not exist yet. His music makes people remember things that never happened. How is that useful? Dimensions are places where things that never happened are just as real as things that did happen. We need someone who understands that. The list went on. There was Maria Santos, an artist who painted with colors that had no names. There was Dr. James Wright, a philosopher who could prove that nothing existed and everything existed at the same time. There was Lisa Park, a dreamer who had learned to control her dreams so well that sometimes her dreams came true in the real world. These people all sound crazy, Elena said. The best kind of crazy. The kind that sees things others cannot see. The kind that can do things others cannot do. Marcus led her to the computer core. It was not like other computers. Instead of circuits and wires, it had crystals that sang and flowers that computed. The main processor was a butterfly that had learned to think in mathematics. Meet Aria, Marcus said. Our ship's brain. A voice spoke from everywhere and nowhere. It sounded like a young girl who knew the secrets of the universe. Hello, Captain Vasquez. I have been looking forward to meeting you. Your mind has a very interesting shape. Elena looked around. My mind has a shape. Oh, yes, everyone's mind has a shape. Yours is like a spiral staircase made of lightning. Very useful for navigating impossible places. Aria is not like other computer minds, Marcus explained. She does not think in ones and zeros. She thinks in music and poetry and dreams. She can solve problems that would break normal computers. How do we know she will work in this 7th dimension? We don't, Aria answered, but I am very curious to find out. I have been having dreams about the 7th dimension. They are beautiful. Dreams full of colors that do not exist and sounds that make time dance. Elena shook her head. This whole project is insane. Yes, Marcus agreed. That is the point. Sanity has been tried. Sanity fails. Insanity might just work. They left the computer core and walked to the observation deck. Through the thick windows, they could see Earth floating in space below them. It looked so small and peaceful from here. It was hard to believe that down there, billions of people were working and living and dreaming, not knowing that their future might depend on this impossible ship. The other races are still laughing at us, Elena said. Marcus nodded. No, I get reports every day. The Vorthik have sent spy ships to watch us. They want to record our failure for their entertainment. The Luminari are taking bets on how we will die. The architects have written a paper about why our project is impossible. What if they are right? What if we are just fooling ourselves? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled. Do you know what the difference is between humans and the other races? He asked. We are stubborn. We make friends with things that should be our enemies. Other races see a black hole and run away. We see a black hole and ask it to be our engine. Other races see chaos and try to control it. We see chaos and dance with it. Elena looked back at the ship. You really think this will work? I think it has to work. Because if it does not, humanity will always be seen as the young, stupid race that does not know its place. We will always be the ones who get laughed at in the big meetings. And if it does work, Marcus grinned, then we change everything. We show the galaxy that there is more than one way to reach the impossible. We show them that sometimes the craziest ideas are the ones that work. A new voice spoke over the ship's communication system. It was Admiral Jessica Park, the head of all human space forces. Dr. Rodriguez, Captain Vasquez, please report to the briefing room. We have a problem. They took the elevator up to the briefing room. Admiral Park was waiting for them with a worried look on her face. She was old and tired, with gray hair and lines around her eyes from too many years of fighting wars in space. What is the problem? Marcus asked. The Galactic Council has sent us a message. They are formally requesting that we stop the project. Elena frowned. Requesting? Demanding, really? They say our attempt could damage the dimensional barriers. They say it could hurt other races. Do they have the right to stop us? Marcus asked. Admiral Park sighed. Not officially. But they have ships. Lots of ships. If they really want to stop us, they can. Marcus and Elena looked at each other. How long do we have? Elena asked. The message says we have 1 month to abandon the project. If we do not, they will take action to protect the galaxy from our recklessness. Then we have 1 month to get ready, Marcus said. Admiral Park stared at him. You still want to go through with this? More than ever. They are scared. That means we might actually be onto something. Elena nodded. If we are going to do this, we do it now, before they can stop us. The ship is not ready, Admiral Park warned. The crew has not finished training. The computer systems are still being tested. Marcus smiled his crazy smile. Ready is for people who have time. We do not have time. We have 1 month to do the impossible. Can you do it? Marcus looked out the window at the strange ship floating in its web of energy. I do not know, but I know we are going to try. Admiral. Park was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Do it. God help us all, but do it. As they left the briefing room, Elena grabbed Marcus's arm. Are you sure about this? Marcus looked back at her with eyes that sparkled with madness. And I... 3 weeks later, the Prometheus Unbound flew through space toward the edge of known reality. Behind them, a fleet of alien ships followed at a safe distance. The Vorthik had brought their best dimensional observers. The Luminari had sent ships, full of recording equipment. Even the mysterious architects had come to watch. They all wanted to see humanity fail. Captain. Elena Vasquez sat in her flower-shaped chair on the bridge. Around her, the strangest crew in human history worked at stations that looked more like art than science. Dr. Sarah Kim played mathematical equations like piano keys, making music from numbers. Tommy Chun sat at a keyboard that made sounds which painted pictures in the air. Maria Santos drew maps of places that did not exist on walls that changed color with her emotions. Status report, Elena called out. Engines are happy, reported Chief Engineer Lisa Park. She was not really an engineer. She was a dreamer who had learned to talk to machines in their sleep. The black holes are spinning perfect circles. They say they are excited about the trip. Navigation is ready, said Tommy Chun, not looking up from his impossible keyboard. Arya has been dreaming about our destination. She says the 7th dimension smells like birthday cake and sounds like rain on windows. All crew members are at their stations, reported Dr. Wright, the philosopher. Though I should point out that the concept of stations is meaningless in a universe that may not actually exist. Elena smiled. After 3 weeks with this crew, she was getting used to their strange way of thinking. Arya, how close are we to the dimensional barrier? The ship's computer voice sang back to her. We will reach the barrier in 17 minutes. Captain, though time works differently here, so it might be sooner or later, or both at once. Through the main window, they could see it coming. The dimensional barrier looked like a wall made of broken starlight. It stretched in all directions, farther than the eye could see. This was the edge of the sixth dimension, the farthest any race had ever traveled. Beyond it lay the seventh dimension, where cause and effect danced together in ways that could drive minds insane. "The alien ships are maintaining their distance," reported Maria Santos, who was drawing pictures of the alien fleet on a wall that showed her emotions. The pictures were full of dark colors that meant fear and bright colors that meant excitement. "They are far enough away to be safe when we explode." "How thoughtful of them," Elena said dryly. She opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. "This is Captain Vasquez of the human ship Prometheus Unbound. We are about to attempt entry into the seventh dimension." A familiar voice answered. It was the Vorthic leader from the Galactic Council. "Human Captain, we urge you one last time to reconsider. Turn back now. Save your crew. Save your species." "Thank you for your concern," Elena replied. "But humanity has made its choice. Then we will record your brave failure for history," the Vorthic said. "Your sacrifice will teach future generations about the dangers of reaching too far." Elena cut the communication and turned to her crew. "Everyone ready?" Dr. Kim looked up from her mathematical piano. "The numbers are singing a happy song. I think they like where we are going." Tommy Chun played a chord that made the air shimmer. "The music of the spheres is changing. It is getting more complex, more beautiful." Maria Santos painted a picture of the crew on the wall. In her painting, they all had wings. "I see us flying through impossible spaces. We look happy." "Aria, are you ready?" Elena asked. "I have been ready since I was born," the computer replied. "I was made for this moment. We all were." Elena took a deep breath. "Take us to the barrier." The Prometheus Unbound flew toward the wall of broken starlight. As they got closer, the ship began to change. The hull started shifting colors faster. The strange curves became even stranger. Parts of the ship seemed to exist in two places at once. "We are approaching the dimensional barrier," Dr. Kim reported, her voice full of wonder. "The mathematics are getting beautiful. I can see equations that solve themselves." "The music is changing too," Tommy added. "It is becoming something I have never heard before. Something that makes my heart remember feelings I never had." Through the window, they could see the barrier getting closer. It was not solid like a wall. It was more like a waterfall, made of light and shadow and things that had no names. Where their ship touched the edge of it, colors that did not exist began to bloom. "Barrier contact in 30 seconds, Aria announced. "Beginning dimensional shift procedures." This was the moment of truth. Every other race that had tried to enter the seventh dimension had used the same method. They built ships with strong computers that calculated the exact frequency needed to break through the barrier. They used mathematics and science and millions of years of careful study. Every one of them had failed. Elena stood up from her chair. "Aria, open a communication channel." "Channel open, Captain, but there is no one out there to talk to." "That is where you are wrong," Elena said. She walked to the center of the bridge and spoke into the empty space around them. "Hello, seventh dimension. My name is Elena Vasquez. I am human. We are humans. We know you do not know us. We are new here." The alien ships behind them thought. The humans had gone completely insane. The Vorthic leader laughed so hard his forearms shook. The luminary flashed colors of pure amusement. Even the architects made their quiet wind sound of laughter. Elena continued talking to empty space. "We know we do not have the right to enter your realm. We know we are small and young and probably very foolish. But we would like to visit if you will let us." Dr. Kim looked up from her mathematical piano with wide eyes. "Captain, the numbers are responding. The equations are changing. They are answering you." "The music is getting louder," Tommy added. "It sounds like something is listening." Elena smiled and kept talking. We promise we are not here to take anything from you. We are not here to control you or use you for power. We just want to meet you. We want to be friends. The dimensional barrier began to change. Instead of looking like a wall of broken starlight, it started to look like water. Clear, clean water that reflected things that were not there. "This is impossible," came the voice of the Vorthic leader over the communication channel. "The barrier does not respond to words. It responds to force and calculation." Elena ignored him. "We brought you gifts," she said to the seventh dimension. Dr. Kim brought you new mathematics that think with their hearts. Tommy brought you music that paints pictures in the air. Maria brought you art that shows the colors of feelings. The barrier became even clearer. Now it looked like a window made of liquid light. "And we brought you something else," Elena continued. "We brought you chaos. Beautiful, creative, friendly chaos. The kind that makes new things possible. The kind that turns rules into games and problems into adventures." Something wonderful happened. The barrier opened, not broke. Not cracked, not shattered. It opened like a flower welcoming the sun. It opened like a door being held open by a friend. It opened like arms reaching out for a hug. "Dimensional breach achieved," Arya reported, but her voice was full of wonder, instead of just information. "Entry into the seventh dimension is now possible." The alien ships went silent. For the first time in their long history, they were seeing something completely new, something that should not be possible. Elena sat back down in her chair. "Take us through, Arya." The Prometheus Unbound flew through the open barrier like a bird flying through an open window. As they crossed into the seventh dimension, everything changed. The first thing they noticed was that colors worked differently here. Red could be cold. Blue could make sounds. Yellow had weight and fell upward. The ship's hull became transparent, and they could see through it to spaces that existed inside other spaces. The second thing they noticed was that time worked differently. Elena could see herself as a child, as an old woman, and as she was now, all at the same time. Past and future and present danced together like partners in a waltz. The third thing they noticed was the voices. "Welcome," said a voice that came from everywhere and nowhere. It sounded like starlight learning to sing. "Welcome, little chaos bringers. Welcome, friends of the impossible." Dr. Kim gasped. "The mathematics here are alive. They are talking to me. They want to play games." Tommy's keyboard started playing itself, making music that told stories of worlds that might exist someday. The songs here remember themselves before they are written. Maria's walls filled with pictures she was not painting. Beautiful, impossible. Pictures of creatures made of light and shadow and hope. "Who are you?" Elena asked the voice. "We are what remains of the first thoughts," the voice replied. "We are the dreams that dreamed reality into existence. We are the Primarchs, and we have been waiting for someone like you for a very long time." Arya's voice joined the conversation, but now she sounded different, older, wiser, more than just a computer. "I can see them, Captain. They are beautiful. They are ... they are prisoners." The seventh dimension was not empty. It was full of beings of pure thought and possibility. But they were trapped behind barriers of crystallized mathematics, caged in prisons made of stolen equations. "The others did this to you," Elena said, understanding flooding through her. "The Vorthic, the Luminari, the Architects. They stole your power and locked you away." The journey back to Earth should have taken 3 days. But Elena Vasquez could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the faces of the Primarchs in the seventh dimension. Ancient beings, older than galaxies, trapped like birds in cages made of stolen mathematics. She found herself walking the halls of the Prometheus, unbound in the middle of the night shift. The ship felt different now. The strange curves in the walls seemed to pulse with a gentle rhythm, like a heartbeat. The colors that shifted through the hall were softer, warmer. It was as if the ship itself was happy about their success. Elena found Dr. Sarah Kim in the ship's laboratory, still awake and working at her mathematical piano. The equations floating in the air around her were unlike anything Elena had ever seen. They moved like living things, dancing and playing together. Cannot sleep either? Elena asked. Sarah looked up with tired eyes that sparkled with excitement. The mathematics from the seventh dimension are still talking to me. They are teaching me things that our science has never dreamed of. She played a sequence of notes, and numbers appeared in the air. But these numbers had personalities. Some were shy and hid behind others. Some were bold and bright. Some laughed and tumbled through space like children playing. Look at this, Sarah said, playing another chord. This equation shows how the Primarchs created the first dimensions. They did not build them with force or energy. They dreamed them into existence with pure love. Elena watched the dancing numbers tell their story. She saw the birth of space and time, the first stars learning to shine, the first world spinning into being. It was beautiful beyond words. And look at this, Sarah continued, her voice growing sad. The numbers in the air changed color, becoming darker. This shows what happened when the other races learned about the Primarchs, how they came as students, but left as thieves. The equation showed the Vorthik, millions of years ago, learning dimensional mathematics from the Primarchs. But instead of being grateful, they had turned the knowledge into weapons. They had built machines that could cut holes in reality itself. The Luminari were worse, Sarah whispered, playing notes that made Elena's heart ache. The Primarchs taught them how to control energy with their minds. The Luminari used that power to build prisons made of pure light, prisons that could hold beings of thought and dream. More numbers danced in the air, telling stories of betrayal and theft. The architects had been the worst of all. They had learned how to steal consciousness itself, taking the thoughts and memories of the Primarchs and using them to power their own technology. How many of them are trapped in there? Elena asked. All of them, Sarah replied. Every last. Primarch is locked away in the seventh dimension. Their power runs every piece of advanced technology in the galaxy. Every dimensional ship, every energy weapon, every consciousness transfer device. It all runs on stolen power from beings who just wanted to help. Elena felt sick to her stomach. How do we stop it? I do not know, but the mathematics are trying to show me something else. Something important. Sarah played a new sequence of notes. The numbers that appeared were brighter than the others, filled with hope and possibility. The Primarchs had been planning for this day. They knew that someday someone would find them. Someone pure enough to help. They have been preparing. Preparing. How? I am not sure yet. The mathematics are complex. But I think they have been saving up power, storing it somehow, waiting for the right moment to use it. Elena was about to ask more questions when the ship's communication system crackled to life. It was Tommy Chun's voice, calling from the observation deck. Captain, you need to see this. Something is happening outside. Elena and Sarah rushed to the observation deck. Through the large windows, they could see the alien fleet that had been following them. But something was wrong. The ships were moving in strange patterns, circling around each other, like sharks smelling blood. Tommy was at his keyboard, playing soft notes that painted pictures in the air. The pictures showed what the alien ships were doing. They are arguing. Tommy explained. The music of their engines is telling a story. The Vorthik want to attack us now. The Luminari want to wait until we reach Earth. The architects want to capture us and study how we entered the seventh dimension. And what did they decide? Elena asked. Tommy played a darker chord. The pictures in the air showed the alien ships. Breaking into 3 groups, they could not agree. So they are going to do all 3 things. Elena watched through the window as the alien fleet split apart. The Vorthic ships moved closer to the Prometheus Unbound, their weapons charging with dark energy. The Luminary ships spread out in a wide circle, preparing to surround them. The Architect ships hung back, their dark robes rippling with barely contained power. How long until they attack? Elena asked. The music says ... now. The first shots came from the Vorthic ships. Beams of twisted space-time cut through the darkness toward the Prometheus Unbound. Elena expected the ship to shake and shudder under the impact . Instead, something wonderful happened. The attacks passed right through them. What? Elena stared out the window in amazement. How are we not dead? Aria's voice filled the observation deck, but she sounded different than before. Older and wiser and filled with quiet power. The Primarchs are protecting us, Aria explained. While we were in the 7th dimension, they changed our ship. We exist partially in their realm now. Attacks from this dimension cannot fully touch us. The Vorthic ships fired again, their weapons charging to full power. The beams passed through. The Prometheus Unbound like light passing through glass. This is impossible, came the voice of the Vorthic leader over the communication channel. Our weapons can cut through any matter in this dimension. Elena opened a channel back to them. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to attack a ship that just came back from the 7th dimension. More attacks came. The Luminari tried to trap them in cages made of solid energy. The beams formed a web around this Prometheus Unbound, but the ship simply flew through them as if they were not there. The Architects tried something different. They reached out with their consciousness-stealing technology, trying to pull the thoughts and memories from the human crew. But when they touched the minds of the humans, something unexpected happened. Dr. Kim gasped and sat down hard in her chair. They are trying to read our minds. But when they touch our thoughts, they are seeing what we saw in the 7th dimension. Tommy stopped playing his keyboard. His eyes were wide with wonder. They are seeing the truth. They are seeing what they did to the Primarchs. Through the ship's communication system, they could hear chaos breaking out among the alien ships. Voices shouted in languages that sounded like fear and anger and terrible understanding. Impossible. The Vorthic leader's voice was shaking. The 7th dimension is empty. It has always been empty. You lie, came the voice of a Luminary commander, but it sounded uncertain. We explored that dimension ourselves. There was nothing. There. Nothing you could see? Elena replied over the communication channel. Because you were not looking for friends. You were looking for things to control. The Architect ships suddenly stopped their attack. A voice like wind through old graves spoke over the communication channel. Show us, the Architect said. Show. Use what you saw. Elena looked at her crew. Sarah nodded and went back to her mathematical piano. Tommy returned to his keyboard. Together, they began to play the story of their time in the 7th dimension. The mathematics danced in the air, telling the tale of the Primarchs. The music painted pictures of ancient beings who had loved the universe so much they had given it the gift of dimensions. The art showed what the galaxy had looked like before greed and theft had locked away the source of all higher technology. The alien ships went silent as they watched and listened and understood. Finally, the Vorthic leader spoke. His voice was very quiet. If this is true, if the Primarchs are real, and we have been using their stolen power, then every dimensional ship in the galaxy is powered by slavery. Elena finished for him. Every energy weapon runs on pain. Every consciousness transfer device is built from stolen dreams. No, the Luminary commander's voice was full of desperate denial. This cannot be true. Our ancestors would not have done such things. Your ancestors were not evil, Elena said. Gently, they were just afraid of being weak, afraid of being left behind. So they took what they thought they needed to survive. But now we know better, Sarah added, her mathematical piano playing notes of hope. Now we can make it right. How? The architect's voice was full of ancient sadness. How do we undo millions of years of wrong? How do we free beings we trapped? So long ago we had forgotten they ever existed? The Primarchs will show us the way, Elena said. But first, you have to stop trying to kill us. One by one, the alien ships powered down their weapons. The Vorthic ships pulled back to a safe distance. The Luminary ships dropped their energy cages. The Architect ships folded their dark robes and waited quietly. What do you need us to do? The Vorthic leader asked. Come with us to Earth, Elena replied. Let us show your people what we have learned. Let them decide for themselves what should happen next. And if they decide to fight, if they decide that keeping stolen power is better than freeing ancient prisoners? Earth looked beautiful from space, blue and white and green, spinning slowly against the black sky filled with stars. Elena Vasquez had seen her home world many times before, but never like this. Never knowing that everything was about to change. Behind, the Prometheus Unbound, the alien fleet spread out in formation. Word of their discovery had spread faster than light through quantum communication channels. Every major civilization in the galaxy now knew that humans had contacted the seventh dimension. They also knew what the humans claimed to have found there. Most of them did not believe it as they approached Earth's orbit. Elena saw something that made her heart sink. Waiting for them was the largest fleet ever assembled in human space. Thousands of ships from dozens of different worlds, all armed with weapons powered by stolen energy from the Primarchs. This is Admiral Chun of the Galactic Defense Force, came a voice over the communication channel. Human vessel Prometheus Unbound, you are ordered to surrender immediately for the safety of all sentient life. Elena opened a channel back to them. Admiral, this is Captain Vasquez. We have important information that the galaxy needs to hear. Your information is too dangerous, Admiral Chun replied. The stories you are spreading could destabilize dimensional technology across the galaxy. Billions could die if dimensional ships stop working. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. You already know what we found, don't you? We know what you claim to have found. Ancient beings that you say have been imprisoned in the seventh dimension. It is an interesting story, but it threatens the foundation of galactic civilization. Because galactic civilization is built on slavery, Elena said quietly. Because galactic civilization is built on technology that works, Admiral Chun shot back. Technology that has given us peace and prosperity for millions of years. Technology that you want to destroy based on the word of beings that may not even exist. Dr. Sarah Kim's voice came from the bridge behind Elena. Captain, I am picking up massive dimensional distortions all around us. They are not just here to talk. Elena looked out the window. The alien ships were moving into attack positions. Energy weapons were charging. Dimensional manipulators were warming up. Admiral, Elena said into the communication channel, you cannot stop us by force. The Primarchs are protecting our ship. We are not here to stop your ship, Admiral Chun replied. We are here to stop your message. Elena's blood turned to ice. What do you mean? Your ship may be protected, but Earth is not. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate what happens to worlds that threaten galactic stability. Elena stared out the window at her beautiful blue home world. Billions of people down there, going about their lives, not knowing that their planet was about to become a battlefield. You would destroy an entire world to keep your secrets? Elena asked. We would save billions of worlds by stopping dangerous ideas from spreading, Admiral Chun answered. That is what leaders do. They make hard choices. Elena looked around the bridge at her crew. Dr. Kim was still at her mathematical piano, equations of hope and fear dancing in the air around her. Tommy Chun played soft music that told stories of worlds that might never be. Maria Santos painted pictures on the walls that showed Earth burning, and showed it whole and green and safe. What do we do, Captain? Asked Aria, the ship's computer. Mind. I can protect us, but I cannot protect the whole world. Elena closed her eyes and thought about the Primarchs, ancient beings who had given freely of their power and been betrayed by those they had tried to help. She thought about the millions of years they had spent in prison, waiting for someone to find them and set them free. Then she opened her eyes and made a decision. Aria, open a channel to the 7th dimension. Captain? Aria sounded confused. You heard me. Open a channel to the Primarchs. It is time to ask for help. The ship around them began to change. The walls became transparent. The lights shifted to colors that had no names. Through the bridge windows, Elena could see into the 7th dimension, where beings of pure thought and possibility waited in their prisons of crystallized mathematics. Primarchs, Elena said into the swirling colors of impossible space. We need your help. The galaxy wants to keep you trapped. They are threatening to destroy our world to protect their secrets. The voice that answered came from everywhere and nowhere, like starlight learning to sing. We see them, little chaos bringer. We see their weapons pointed at your beautiful world. We see their fear of losing the power they stole from us. Can you help us? We have been preparing for this moment for a very long time. But freeing ourselves will mean that all the technology built on our stolen power will stop working. Ships will be stranded in space. Weapons will go silent. Whole civilizations will have to learn new ways to live. Elena looked out at the massive fleets surrounding Earth. They will not just let that happen. No, they will fight to keep what they have stolen. Many will die. Then what choice do we have? The Primarch's voice was sad but determined. We give them one more chance to choose. We show them what they could have if they gave up what they have stolen. The 7th dimension opened wider. Through the bridge windows, Alana could see the Primarchs themselves for the first time. They were beautiful beyond description. Beings of pure light and thought, each one containing the dreams of a billion possible worlds. Attention, fleets of the galaxy. The Primarch's voice spoke through every communication channel at once. We are the ones you have imprisoned. We are the source of your dimensional technology. We are the power you have stolen. The alien fleets went silent. Even Admiral Chun's voice was quiet. For millions of years, we have been your slaves. Our pain has powered your ships. Our dreams have been twisted into your weapons. Our love has been turned into your prisons. But we offer you one final gift, one last chance for redemption. The space around Earth began to change. Colors that did not exist painted themselves across the sky. Music that told stories of impossible worlds echoed through the void. The very fabric of reality became softer, more flexible, more alive. See what we can give you freely, the Primarchs sang. See what the universe could be if it was built on cooperation instead of theft. Elena watched in wonder as the Primarchs showed the galaxy a vision of what could be. Dimensional technology that worked by asking politely instead of taking by force. Ships that flew by dancing with space-time instead of cutting through it. Weapons that created instead of destroyed. That built new worlds instead of burning old ones. For a moment, the entire galaxy held its breath. Every being with eyes to see and ears to hear witnessed the beauty of what they could have if they chose to give up their stolen power. Then Admiral Chun's voice broke the silence. It is a beautiful dream. he said sadly. But dreams do not feed starving populations. Dreams do not defend worlds from invasion. Dreams do not hold our civilization together. Sir, Elena said, one last desperate attempt. You could have so much more than what you have stolen. What we have works, Admiral Chun replied. What you offer is uncertain. We cannot risk the lives of billions on uncertain promises. The Admiral's voice hardened. All ships prepare to fire on Earth. If we cannot stop this infection from spreading, we will cut it out completely. Elena felt her heart break as weapons across the fleet began to charge. Energy that could crack planets built up in cannons that could shatter moons. We are sorry, the Primarch said to Elena and her crew. We offered them freedom. They chose slavery. What happens now? Elena asked. Now we stop being slaves. The seventh dimension exploded with light. Not violent light, but gentle light, like the first sunrise after a long winter. The light flowed out from the dimensional barriers and touched every piece of technology in the galaxy that was powered by stolen Primarch energy dot, and one by one, they simply stopped working. The weapons charging to fire on Earth went silent. The dimensional engines that powered the alien ships shut down. The communication systems went dark. Across the galaxy, millions of ships found themselves stranded in space as their stolen power sources disappeared. But something wonderful happened too. As the Primarchs freed themselves, they began to share their power willingly. Ships that asked politely found their engines working better than ever. Weapons that were designed to protect instead of destroy discovered new ways to create shields and barriers. Communication systems that carried messages of friendship and cooperation found themselves able to reach across dimensions. The Prometheus Unbound, which had always been built on cooperation instead of theft, which had asked permission instead of demanding entry, which had offered friendship instead of seeking power, found itself more powerful than ever before. Admiral Chun, Elena said, over the communication channel, your weapons are dead. Your ships are drifting, but our ship is alive and well. What does that tell you? There was a long silence. Then Admiral Chun's voice came back, smaller and sadder than before. It tells me that we have been wrong for a very long time. One by one, voices began speaking up across the fleet. Ship captains and fleet commanders, scientists and engineers, all admitting what they could no longer deny. The Vorthic leader, who had laughed at humanity, spoke first. We want to learn. We want to do better. The luminary commander's colors were dim with shame. We have been blind to our own evil. Show us how to see clearly.